Hey Geminis, welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot. Welcome to your cards for July. I know it's more like mid-July and I'm sorry for that, but looking at these cards, I've got to assume that this reading was meant to come out at this time for you. I get the sense that something has suddenly changed in a way. I'm going to get right into the cards and kind of go through the astrology with you as I go through the cards. Because July is pretty intense. As we make our way through this Mars energy that we're in, Mars is in Aries. It's making a sextile, which is opening up a lot of opportunities for you. And that Mars energy will give you a sense of urgency, like we have to do something. But the other planets are all still retrograde. Mercury is beginning to station. I do believe the stationing of Mercury is going to be a little bit jolting, and that's where we're at now. And in this week to come, the energy gets a little bit explosive. It gets a little bit deeper. What happens is Mars meets up with Chiron, which is a wounded healer. And again, this is sextiling your Gemini energy. It's a good masculine, kind of primal energy where you can get through this. But it could also bring up some wounds. It could bring up some hurt. It could be arguments with loved ones, things that people say that really hurt you. It could be memories of, childhood wounds. It could be something that happens in the collective that just feels like it affects you deeply. Chiron can make you feel a little bit hopeless. And like Saturn, Chiron is wounded and therefore made immortal. And the problem being that he is promised a life of continual pain and suffering from the wound. And he has to learn how to heal it. And that's where you're at. And it's a definite 8th house transit for you, as that Pluto and Jupiter are so close, traveling together, both retrograde now. This could be a little bit of a brutal and intense energy that could really force us to deal with some subconscious fears. It could also bring out dealing with our partners and their fears, their anxieties. It could bring up partners' financial issues as well as yours, taxes, inheritances. But, what happens in the 8th house is we learn to share. It's where we share our resources. It's who we share our energy with. It is a house of intimacy and sex. So this transit really helps you step into your power by allowing yourself to be vulnerable, about, allowing the person that you love to be vulnerable, seeing each other, in all the flaws and imperfections and acceptance. That's 8th house stuff. And I see that we're in an 8th house element here. The Magician, the 9 of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. So I feel like this is you, Gemini. It's a sword energy, like you're in your head, you're feeling anxious, stress, and worry. But I think that's because there's something that you want, something It could be a new project, it could be a new friendship, but it actually has an element of being very sexual. It feels like a really intense relationship in your life. And I think the Magician represents maybe an element of control that you're trying to exercise over it. You know, the Magician could be manipulative energy. It doesn't have to be like somebody's purposely manipulating you or you're trying to purposely manipulate the situation. It's just how you maintain the control in the situation. In other words, if you're feeling very intense attraction towards someone, you may be subconsciously and maybe outwardly holding back because there's a fear of the intensity, right? The Magician can try to control the situation, which, you know, and the Nine of Swords is nothing more than illusions in our minds. It's all the things that we think of. It's the unhealthy loops in our head, like expecting everything to go wrong, waiting for the next shoe to drop. You know, there could be elements if you're just entering into a relationship with somebody at this time. There's, you know, always a fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection, you know, all of that going into a new relationship. I say that a lot because the Magician comes out over the Seven of Swords. Now, one thing, and it won't be for everybody, but it's really important, Gemini, for you to protect your energy. Okay, Uranus, 12th house transit, no joke. You're getting constant downloads, which is why you probably spend a lot of your time in your mind these days. It's probably a healthier place for you to be in your mind. You know, you're probably better off doing the meditation, making sure that you're getting enough sleep, maybe even doing some journaling, trying to make a conscious effort to remember your dreams. They'll be very insightful at this time. But that Magician with the Seven of Swords is an element of self-sabotage. If, again, you're afraid of kind of letting go, if you're afraid of getting really deep into a relationship with somebody, I think Gemini's feeling a little bit shook here. And so you're trying to come off like you're playing it cool, like you don't really want commitment, you're not, you know, you don't care if they're with you or not. Now this row is exactly what I'm saying. The Seven of Swords comes right out between the Magician and the Fool. So that tells me that July is going to be a lesson in releasing control of situations and taking the leap of faith. It's all about taking the leap of faith now. The thing is, you don't have control over the situation. There's no guarantees. But, you know, you can't lose at something if you never try, but you can't win either. So I think July is going to be a real testament to your willpower and how much do you want this and how deep are you willing to go. It's going to be an important question for you this month because I think that you're going to be tempted to walk away. I think you're going to be tempted to say, I'm not interested in this, you know, right now, that you don't want to get into maybe a relationship right now. You may be tempted to try to keep this casual. Nine of Swords, Eight of Cups. I'm also reminded that Venus is going to be making her final square to Neptune. Neptune is retrograde. And Gemini, first house, your identity, your self-worth. There may be some sort of strange illusions or fears that are playing in right now. You know, maybe a fear of rejection, and therefore you're not willing to tell somebody how you truly feel. You may start to feel almost paranoid, and Chiron with Mars can bring up this feeling like you're about to lose something that you want very badly. Maybe you feel like the other person is starting to create some distance between you. They're starting to walk away. I feel an immense amount of mirroring here. But what I love about it is right below that Ace of Wands and right next to the Eight of Cups, oh, well, that's not going to do much for you, is the Queen of Cups. So, first of all, my very first thought when I saw that, honestly, was that you're being guided and you're being protected right now. These fears are going to dissipate. This is a moment. So if you're feeling really vulnerable, really exposed, it's okay to tell a partner, you know, I need a night off. I need some time to myself. That's fine. But don't do anything rash. Don't, you know, kind of get in your head about stuff and just decide that now is the time you're going to break up and walk away from someone. You want to kind of keep this inward this month because you're working through a lot of things, and things really start to rapidly in the middle of July. We start to see a lot of things differently. You know, the sun makes a lot of aspects in this in this time period that could bring a lot of light to different situations. We could see things differently, and it's really rapid. So something that you feel really deeply today, tomorrow might be completely different. So don't kind of throw everything up in the air. Try to stay calm and try to stay in your element, in your emotional control. The Queen of Cups, take care of you right now. Make sure that you're emotionally fulfilling yourself. But most of all, I want to say that no matter what happens in the heat of this moment, in whatever fear that creeps up, maybe you feel as if somebody maybe is cheating on you. You know, you just start to have these doubts and you don't really have any particular concrete evidence. It's just all of these doubts and fears. And sometimes that happens when we start to develop really intense feelings and we start to feel like we're losing control of ourselves. That magician energy kicks in. We feel the need to manipulate the situation and in order to keep ourselves safe. Now, let's not forget that Mercury is still in Cancer in your second house, dealing with self-esteem and self-worth issues, and it's very important for you to be in a place of security. That's going to be of utmost importance to you throughout July. And so the universe is going to kind of make you do this dance between how much are you willing to give, how vulnerable are you willing to be with someone, and the more you're willing to give, the safer you're going to feel. That Eight of Cups is heading straight to that Queen of Cups, meaning there's an element of unconditional love. If you have fears creeping up, if you're having doubts, if you're pulling away in a relationship, it's okay. I feel like this person has so much love for you, so much unconditional love, that they understand that you're human. They understand that you're going through something, and they're willing to go through it with you. They're willing to feel their way through, to invest emotionally, to give emotionally. And I think it's a strong message that this person is karmically meant to be in your life at this time. That's why there's such an attraction. Now, the Fool, the Seven of Wands, and the Two of Swords. The Fool is when you're ready to take the leap of faith. And this is my Gemini trying to make a decision whether they're going to try to keep control of the situation, kind of keep that wall up, fight for their, not willing to be vulnerable, feeling like they need to compete maybe. And it doesn't matter, that Two of Swords. It's so important that you understand that whatever decisions that you come to in the month of July, there's still so many things that are unknown. There's so many things that you're learning. She's blindfolded. There's a lot of information she doesn't know yet. Things are coming to light. And if you're in a Nine of Swords trying to force some sort of a decision right now, because I think that's you, Gemini. I don't feel that energy coming from that Queen of Cups. She feels to me like she's okay where she's at. She understands a bigger perspective. I think she realizes what this is. I don't feel a sense of urgency. In fact, I feel like she's sort of holding space for you. It feels like an energy of tenderness and safety. The Two of Swords and the Nine of Swords is when you start to realize how important it is to get out of your head. How important it is that you make this decision, even though you're being so divinely guided at this time. This decision has to come from the heart. It's not something that can come from the mind. I look at the Fool, the Magician, and the Seven of Swords, and there's a lot of solar plexus energy. The color yellow is jumping out at me, meaning that there's some kind of a willpower that you're going to be asked to exert in the month of July. Be careful how you want to use that energy, because you could come off as really pushing people away, when really your true intention is to bring something to you. So be careful how you're affecting other people's energy. If you are standoffish, expect that they will be the same. And if you are not sharing your true feelings, if you're not being honest with them about your feelings, you may begin to feel suspicious of how they feel. You two seem to be somewhat mirroring each other, although I get a very mature feeling from that Queen of Cups. I don't feel like she's playing a game. I think that she's really trying to hold space there for you. It's almost a maternal energy. Maybe this isn't a loved one. Maybe, this is a best friend or a mother or a sister or somebody who really does love you unconditionally. It could also represent an element of yourself where you're kind of on this journey to forgive yourself, to have that compassion. This Chiron Mars energy can make us heal these childhood wounds of, maybe there's feelings of being unworthy, not giving yourself a chance. And now is a chance to heal that within you, to understand the fears that were blocking you and why you can't continue this next cycle that we're on in that energy. The astrology cards you pulled is the fire element. This is that Mars in Aries. this is that feeling like you've got to go, like you've got to make decisions and moves in your life. Things are starting to happen. This is kind of the universe putting a fire under your ass. And Leo, this is that solar plexus energy that I'm talking about. You begin to realize what you really want by mid-August, by Leo season. It begins to take hold. You begin to make it happen. The overall energy is a page of Pentacles. We're definitely talking about new beginnings. If it could be taking a relationship to the next level, it could just be asking somebody out on a date, you know, if you're in a situation where you're single and not dating someone. It could be a gift. It could be the offer of a trip. It could be going back to school. Like I said, a job, a promotion, a gift of money of some sort. But it comes to you when you get into this full energy, when you begin to feel brave enough to release control, to take down the walls. That's when stuff starts to take place. And it's a pentacle, so there's security, there's a healthy foundation. It's slow. You know, this isn't going to be, I mean, I know you're in the fire element, feeling like you want to get things done. But Saturn's also involved, and it's saying go slow. Make methodical, good decisions. Do the little things. Do the paperwork, you know. We're still, Mercury's in a shadow for a little while. We're still perfecting things. So it's going to move slow, but it's a promise. It's a promise that there's new beginnings. And the bottom of the deck was the Page of Cups. And that's an offer of love. That's somebody telling you that they love you. That's an offer of love. It could even be news about a child. It could just be really emotional, heartfelt connections and communication. Now, I did pull a couple extra cards for you guys because I'm so late this month, and I'm really super appreciative that you have the patience with me. God. The card, the all-encompassing hand. This is what I'm talking about. You're being so divinely guided. And this card talks specifically about being guided into a divine relationship. This is a lot of 8th house stuff. This is trusting somebody, and it's scary. Jupiter and Pluto, it's all about facing your fears. The encompassing hand is like having this extra boost of strength, you know, and that Uranus and Taurus in your 12th is getting the messages. You're being divinely guided. You're listening to your intuition, and you're starting to be brave enough to step out of your comfort zone. Being willing to step out of that comfort zone. I don't know if maybe some of you Geminis felt unworthy of love because you did not feel safe enough to open up and to be yourself. Like I said, it's all about being vulnerable. And the universe brings you a connection, and it very patiently allows you to break down those walls little by little. And it's very loving, and it's very compassionate, and it's very forgiving, and it's willing to go on this journey with you. And you're safe. For whoever this is resonating with, you are so safe here. Card number 39. Feel this moment. Yeah, there's just an intense feeling like there's going to be some emotional conversations or situations that come about. in which you really do have to express how you feel. "38, existence is liquid." This is you relinquishing the control. Abundance in the tarot is represented with the cups. It's fluid, it's liquid, it's easy flowing, it comes and goes, and that's how we manifest it. And you cannot try to grasp onto something. You can't try to keep it in a certain box. You can't make it look a certain way. It's there for you to feel. It's there for you to allow it to flow through you. This is about sharing and intimacy, and it's not about material stuff. It's not about what you have to gain, what it does for your reputation, where it is, how it affects you socially. This is really on a deep emotional level. This is also on a very karmic level, I feel. There's very karmic lessons, and there's very special relationships that you're working with at this time, where you're going to learn not only so much about the universe, but so much more about yourself. You start to see yourself through somebody else. That's the 8th house stuff. I pulled some love cards for you, especially because Venus is now starting to pick up some traction. She's going to be getting out of her shadow. Just as she moves out of that shadow point, she has that square with Neptune, the final square. And this is where things either fall apart, illusions are shattered. If you really felt something, people won't be able to lie and get away with shit through this transit. They just won't. You're going to see everybody for who they are, which is why there's such a feeling like you're okay and you're safe. And this final square might be kind of this jaunting feeling like you're getting sucked back into the past, into everything that's ever gone wrong before and how it could happen again. And even though you really love this person and you feel so attracted and drawn to them, there's a need to protect yourself, to make sure that you don't experience the things you have in your past. And that solar plexus energy is like you've got to get over it. That past stuff served you. It created who you are today. But these are new opportunities. They're coming to you because you're on a different frequency, and they're more aligned to the new frequency, and you could feel safe here. The cards that came up, 8 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, and the Devil. You are holding yourself back emotionally from somebody who you feel is your 10 of Pentacles, who you feel is the epitome of everything. The perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect partner, loyalty. So that's, again, a feeling like you're safe. And that Devil is the energy like telling you and, whispering in your mind, you can't trust anybody. You did this in your past and it was a disaster. You don't want to do it again. That Devil energy is creeping up, that Magician and that 7 of Swords. Just be wary of where things start to come off the rails. Make sure that it's not illusions in your mind and your fears getting the best of you, because this is a really beautiful, beautiful energy that you have. And even if you do make a mistake, even if you do break up, even if you do get scared and pull away, I still get the feeling like everything's going to be okay. There's an understanding of your vulnerability with your connection. And like I said, there's just an immense amount of patience and understanding there. The Oracle card, energy flows where my intentions go. It's all about this Fool energy. It's all about that leap of faith. What do you want to believe in, Gemini? Do you want to believe that this person's going to hurt you just because someone in your past hurt you? Or do you want to believe in that warm, fuzzy belief that there is that one person for you? That, you know, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the kind of experience you want after all. Your animal card, which is kind of weird. The beaver and the earthworm. They both feel so earthy to me. But the beaver, of course, is also an element of water, you know, and the beaver kind of creates the dam, right? He stops the flow of water. So that's that energy where you're starting to feel really connected with someone, and that wall comes up. You get scared. And the earthworm is, again, it's like that feeling of being new. You're stepping into a connection that maybe you've never felt this intensity before. Maybe you've never felt this kind of love before. And it's okay. Again, you're safe. You know? You're going to work your way through it, and you're going to get a lot of enlightenment. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. And that earthworm says it's okay if it moves slow. It's okay if you screw it up. It's okay if you make mistakes. Because this love is unconditional. You know? It's for you. You can't mess it up. Really beautiful energy, Gemini. I love it. All right, so I'm excited. Hopefully I'll get back to you a little bit earlier in August. I'm going to try to drop in for the new moon in Cancer coming up in a couple days. I'm going to try to do a pick a card reading. Stay tuned for that. If you stuck around to the end, please don't forget to hit the like button, the thumbs up. Share this with friends. I'm getting some good growth on the channel, and I like to get those messages out as much as I can. So every like helps. All right, guys, have a wonderful July, and I'll see you soon. Bye.